so she came to us because she said, I've been doing my own workshops for the past 3 years. This past year, I did $50,000 in doing her own workshops. That's how much she was able to collect in revenue, just in people trying to watch her videos. We helped her in 3 months make $250,000.
This episode is brought to you by our friends at Bamboo. Yes, I am sitting in the podcast room at the Bamboo Detroit location right now, which is where you have seen a ton of the Black Fridays podcast episodes. And the reason that is because Bamboo has been Black Friday's creative hub for the last couple of years. However, it's much more than our creative HQ. It's home to hundreds of entrepreneurs, creators, thinkers, and doers just like yourself. Now, whether you need a private suite that's customized to your liking so that you can effectively get work done, or if you need a space to be able to host a meeting or a conference call, Bamboo has flexible, creative spaces and a supportive community to match. Now, if you don't get anything from this message, I need you to do this right here. Go ahead, click the link to check out Bamboo's selection of private suites at any of their locations. That's right, any of their Bamboo co-work locations. And you can also find a link in the show notes as well to get those details. And it's time for you, that's right, you to join the Bamboo community. That's it. Time to get into the show. What up, though, Black Fridays family? Welcome back to another installment of the Black Fridays podcast. Before we get into today's episode, I need you to make sure to hit that like button, drop a comment, and then share some episodes with your family, friends, loved ones so we can keep this thing going. All right, now that I got that out of the way, I have someone in here who is looking to elevate entrepreneurs in the tech space and beyond through some of the innovative platforms that they've created and businesses that they've curated. Mr. Matthew Burnett, how are you?
Doing good, Denzel. How's it going with you?
I'm doing pretty well. Thank you for pulling up to the podcast. Grateful to have you here.
For sure.
All right, so let's get in. Before we get into the innovative platform that you are working on now, let's talk a little bit about your founder and entrepreneurship journey. And how did this all start before you developed a platform around here?
Sure. So this is my second swing at a tech company. My first company was a marketplace helping entrepreneurs find factories to manufacture their clothing, furniture, all that sort of stuff. Learned a lot from that. But the genesis of Round Here was from my journey coming back to Detroit. So I had been spending, I guess I was in Brooklyn for about greater part of 14, 15 years. But I came back for family and I saw that there's a lot of opportunities that were here that were not here when I left. And so I wanted to be able to put the Michigan on the map for the resources that they have to be able to attract entrepreneurs to Michigan because I saw it as a great opportunity. But two is to centralize all those resources for local entrepreneurs, right? Like if I'm in Ann Arbor, maybe I only have access or I even know about the opportunities and resources that are right there, grants, workshops, all that sort of stuff. We're trying to aggregate everything, whether you're in Grand Rapids, Flint, Detroit, everything in one place so that all your resources are at the click of a button. Yeah.
Very dope. And while you were away, what took you away to that time in New York when you were gone? And what were you doing professionally before you decided to go into business for yourself?
Sure. You had to get away from moms and dads. You had to gain some independence. And so wanted to go to Brooklyn. Well, I started out at Hampton.
Okay.
I'm going to start with that.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
Really enjoyed my time out there, but then went to Pratt to study industrial design.
Okay.
And so New York is a place that once you go there, it's like it grabs hold of you. And it was COVID that really made me say, do I really want to be out here in this studio apartment during the pandemic? Naturally, I just came back home.
Very nice. Excuse me. And similar to you, I was away during COVID as well. I was living in Florida, and then I had the opportunity to, before I started my new job after grad school, I came back home for the summer, which was great and refreshing because down there I was isolated, but I got a chance to actually be back home for a summer. And then when they started to alleviate some of the restrictions they had about people gathering and things like that, I was able to be around family and like amongst friends and, being able to keep your spirits uplifted, even though the world is like in shambles.
Where did you go to school?
University of Miami for grad school. And
Okay.
then for undergrad, I did University of Michigan.
Okay, nice. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And
How'd you like Florida?
I love Florida. Love
What?
Florida. I love living there, I should say. Now, you know, Florida is a crazy place overall. I put that out there. Yeah,
Sure.
Florida is a crazy place, especially when you start to talk about Miami. But I love the different aspects of culture that's down there, and it's a melting pot for sure. And then you get exposed to Latin American culture, more specifically, but then also different parts of Asia. You have people that come over and integrate there, and then also different aspects of the Caribbean, which was pretty dope. So yeah, it was a good time.
South Beach has a special place in my heart, so I get it.
Very nice, very nice. And so before we get into my favorite part of Black Fridays, I got to ask you, in terms of what drew you to the tech space, is this something that you had always been a part of naturally, or was it something in particular that was a pivotal moment for you that made you want to switch over to getting invested in tech?
Sure. So like I said, I went to New York to study industrial design. Well, first architecture, then industrial design. So I've always been about building things, building products. My grandfather was a watchmaker, so I've always had an affinity for building things. So naturally, I gravitated towards building physical products, start my own watch company while I was out there. But then I got into digital products because I found like the opportunities for building your own site and building your own like online product just enormously like exponentially larger, the opportunity, right, versus a physical product.
Got you. And the entrepreneurship thing, did you come from a family of entrepreneurs? Is that how you got exposed to it?
I'm gonna say yes. I mean, like I said, my grandfather, he was a watchmaker, learned how to fix watches out of World War II, off of that bill, the GI Bill. So like I always admired him. And yeah, my father was a lawyer for the city, but yeah, I think it was really my grandfather that I followed in his footsteps.
Love it. Love it. All right, now let's have some fun. I want to introduce you to my favorite part of Black Fridays, which is Freestyle Fridays. So so Matthew, I hope you came with some bars. I don't know how you want to do this, but you know, we need you to spit a hot 16.
Let's go. No, absolutely not.
All right, cool. So you can answer these rapid fire questions. That's all about you. I just need you to answer each one and answer honestly.
Sure.
All right. So favorite historical landmark in Detroit or landscape in Detroit?
Oh, wow. I'm probably going to say the People Mover. A lot of history on there, going to the auto show growing up. So yeah, I wanted to be a car designer before I saw behind the scenes of like how tedious that work was.
That's a crazy world.
That's where I wanted to go. But yeah, I would say the People Mover.
Very nice. And what would you say is your favorite watch? Do you have a favorite particular watch, favorite watch brand? I know that you said that you have a history of watchmaking in your family.
Yeah. I would probably say that there's something in the Rolex. I would have to say an Oyster for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then can you give me I have no idea what it is. So for me and other people who might not know, could you paint the picture for us?
No, I feel like then I would probably say Movado from a brand standpoint. I think that's an easier picture to paint.
Okay.
I love the simplicity of a Movado. I really like, you just have that one dot to notarize the 12 Arabic. And so I think that there's something, it's like a skill that you have to learn because you're not going to have all the indexes around. So like, I just kind of like the kind of cult following that Movado has had over the years. Like I started fixing watches myself. Like a lot of my friends knew that my grandfather was a watchmaker, so they would bring their watches over. And it was always those Movados that I ended up saying like, you sure I can't buy this? And I wanted to start my own collection.
Dope. And favorite piece of tech that you own?
I'm going to have to say it's the Bose headphones, the Quiet Comfort. They've messed up this last year. I feel like it's a lot more complex than it needs to be, but I love just being able to shut out the world and being able to focus.
Okay. And then in that same breath, in terms of headphones, what you listening to right now? What's something you got on repeat for music? I'm
really into Robert Glasper, neo soul. Sometimes I'm I'm into throwbacks, you know, so it's like I'm on the spot right now. So I'm just trying to think. Yeah. I'm going to say Robert Glasper, the Black Radio 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
And last but not least, East Side or West Side?
You trying to start wars out here? Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm from the West Side. How about that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. For sure. Likewise. So yeah, I'm from the West. Got love for the East.
What part?
From Schoolcraft in Greenfield. That's
Okay.
where I grew up at.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was right around Sherwood Forest.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
That's my dream neighborhood. Yeah. At some point, yeah, I have a crib over there. I don't know when, but yeah, at some point.
All right.
Well, thank you for partaking in Freestyle Fridays. You passed
Sure.
successfully, so thank you for engaging in the shenanigans.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, so now talk to me about Round Here, which is what I'm really looking forward to digging deeper into, because this is a platform that I think could definitely be revolutionary for entrepreneurs in the way that they're able to connect with resources. So if you could explain to us what it is and how it came about.
I'll just first talk about the problem that I experienced, right? Starting a business is tedious. You know, there is no specific roadmap because every business has its own needs. But finding those really smart, hardworking people that you can build and start your business with and scale your business with, it's incredibly difficult. You're going to kiss a lot of frogs, you know, before you find the folks that are going to be those people that are going to help you get to that next level. And also the issue is what it takes for you to start the company are sometimes not the same team that's going to take for you to scale the company. So finding those people takes months at a time, and we wanted to be able to shorten that cycle, right? So being able to aggregate all of those resources into one place was my dream, right? For Michigan and beyond, but I felt like Michigan was the ripe soil for us to be able to go after because we saw so many expert knowledge workers that were looking for this opportunity, that were looking for exposure, and that were looking for an easy way for them to be able to demonstrate their skills, right? A lot of the expert lawyers, accountants, they might go to a co-working space and they might get a room of like, let's call it on a lucky day, they're getting between 5 and 10 like entrepreneurs, right, at a time. We wanted to multiply that and get them up to like 150, 200 people. They're able to see them real time in action, demonstrate their expertise. Not only that, they can book their services. So one of our first experts, Shannon, she came on. She was a product engineer consultant, right? So she helped you take your idea for a product all the way to sample in hand.
Okay.
And so she came to us because she said, I've been doing my own workshops for the past 3 years. This past year, I did $50,000 in doing her own workshops. That's how much she was able to collect in revenue, just in people trying to watch her videos. We helped her in 3 months make $250,000. So we did that by multiplying her audience. We essentially were her agent, and we were bringing in business owners that were looking for experts with that skill set. And so there she was able to multiply her audience. Rookie mistake.
We going viral. We going viral now, man.
So one of our first experts
Yes.
was Shannon, and she was a product designer. And so she helped people get from concept to product in hand. This past year, she made about $50,000 just in workshop fees. Mm-hmm. And we basically 5X'd that in a matter of 3 months. She made $250,000. So the way that we did that is we essentially were her PR firm. We put her in front of large groups of entrepreneurs that were looking for experts with her skill set. So that's what we plan on doing for the rest of the ecosystem of expert knowledge workers. We're talking lawyers, web designers, accountants, you name it. If you're helping startups or small, medium-sized businesses, we want you on our platform.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying that Black Fridays, the media services that we provide would be a great fit for Round Here, being able to connect with those entrepreneurs.
I thought you already signed the contract.
Not yet.
Okay. All right.
Still waiting on the paperwork to get figured out. But yeah, no, we definitely would love to be able to dive more into that. So you're telling me if I was able to come with, I have my own professional services that I do, and I'm looking to be able to scale up my audience, I would be able to leverage a platform like Round Here in order to 10x, 5x, whatever the case may be, that visibility for that audience versus having to curate my own.
100%. And I'll put it like this. You usually only have access when you're going to a co-working space. You have access to entrepreneurs that are in like a 5-mile radius on average, right? The folks that have an easy time getting to that co-working space. So this is like table stakes that we're putting you in front of multiple co-working spaces simultaneously. So we partner with Bamboo, TechTown, New Lab, and a number of the other co-working spaces in Michigan to the point where you can actually broadcast to all of those co-working spaces simultaneously. So it gives you access and reach that most experts don't have unless they're like a micro influencer with like 40K folks. But even if you are an influencer, because we are working with a number of micro influencers, you're on YouTube, but then you're depending upon that audience to get to your site to book a consultation with you. Right. Everything is in one place around here. So we kind of marry what a masterclass is, where you have an opportunity to demonstrate your expertise, with an Upwork where they can actually purchase your services.
Got you. And when you say that you broadcast to the co-working spaces or the different organizations you partner with, do you mean that people have to physically be there to be able to access this information, or how does that do? Are there spaces on the website? How does it work?
Yeah, so you can stream on the site. So they don't even have to be members of those co-working spaces. We have essentially turned them into their own
hubs.
Yeah, their own hubs, their own media outlets, right? So they have access to all of their community and beyond, right? Because New Lab, they might have, let's call it like 400 entrepreneurs that are in the space, but they have a reach of like 5,000 to 10,000 entrepreneurs. They are reaching out to all of their community to be able to bring them in, because content and events are the number one converter for these co-working spaces from an audience member to a tenant. I found out about New Lab through Black Tech Saturdays. I said, this is a really beautiful space. I want to start something here. And that's how they got a new customer out of me. That made it such an easy sell to New Lab to bring them on as a partner.
How did you do the research to identify that that's the biggest way for co-working spaces to convert?
Customer discovery. So we essentially went to their program manager and we said, like, what is the number one way? Is it just you reaching out? Is it cold calling? Is it just email blasts? And they're saying it's events. I think that the challenge that a lot of these folks have is they don't know specifically what event are the things that convert people to members.
Gotcha.
So we give them all of the data, like, here's how many people attended this session. Here are the experts that turn out the biggest audiences for you. And these are the events that convert the most members. So they have the granular data now to be able to pinpoint the right experts, the right subject matter, and the right topics that their tenants want, and that the people that are essentially prospects, what they want to hear. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah. No, that's super helpful. And are there any other services that you all provide for around here in terms of being able to connect those service providers or those service providers to those co-working spaces? Is there any other opportunities that people can leverage through around here?
What more can we do? Like, what else do you want? No, so essentially we tap into your Shopify account, to your Google Calendar. Like, the experts will plug in their calendar so that it's a one-stop shop for people to be able to book services directly through you. And then we also plug into a number of APIs to be able to mass blast your events to broader audiences.
Got you. So break down to me how you were able to mastermind and build out the wireframe for what this would look like. So you had mentioned what the problems that you were having and how you wanted to solve it, but in terms of the wireframe, how this works together, the connectivity of it, making it a one-stop shop, working with co-working space specific, how did you triage all of that?
Yeah, so I'm not going to take full credit for that. I'm actually going to point to your boy Madala.
Yes.
He's been awesome. He's worked with me a lot in terms of like building the site and the visuals for what this could be.
I'm starting to see the parallels because Cozen has a similar concept.
That's right.
Yeah.
Do they? Now it's a competition. All right, now it's a foot race. No, I think, the funny thing is, He worked at a new lab. We knew of each other for, I would say, a greater part of like 5-10 months. Had no idea what he did, and he didn't know what I did. We were just cool.
Yeah.
But I was like in a crunch to get a pitch deck done.
Okay.
And so he told me that I recalled that he said that he had done pitch decks once or twice. So he ended up doing my deck, and then he showed me the rest of his work, and I was like, yo, I need you to come over and start helping me build. So that's how we discovered each other. But I think as far as like, we're trying to bring that experience all online, because co-working spaces, and this is no shade on co-working spaces, I think it's the architecture of most co-working spaces where most people are co-renting, right? You're just dividing up the space and you're getting a deal on the space that you have.
Yes.
For the majority of co-working spaces. What we're trying to do is make this a collaborative ecosystem where you know what everyone specializes in, so you know who you can reach out to for whatever you need.
What would you say is the value add to the co-working spaces? Because we talked about the service providers and how they can amplify their audiences, but what's the value add for the co-working spaces?
Yeah, I think that it's an extra added benefit beyond a desk and beyond the programming. They're giving you the tools for success here, right? I think that that's a promise that a lot of like co-working spaces could not deliver on. And this is not our partners. Our partners are doing a great job. We're just amplifying what they're doing. But for a lot of the other smaller spaces that they may not have had programming, this is a great opportunity for them to be able to scale and provide a bigger and much more, like I would say, fruitful option for entrepreneurs.
Yeah, and I've recognized that in co-working spaces that I've been in before, sometimes that's an uphill battle because, like you said, obviously you have the space, you want to rent that out in order to make revenue and provide spaces for entrepreneurs, businesses, all that good stuff. But it could be an uphill battle in terms of the resources and skilling aspect, because that's a whole another avenue that you have to be able to figure out how to get people to events, how to upskill them with different resources and help them out. And that could be a challenge all within itself. So with this particular platform, they will have the opportunity to have a direct line to people who have things that are already in place that they would be able to leverage a partnership to be able to offer some of those resources.
Yeah, that's right. I would also say, and now you brought this point up, I think that it's the real value for entrepreneurs is that you get to try before you buy, right?
Okay.
You get a chance to see the experts in action before you actually hire them. Where else are you going to get that? If you're talking about Upwork or Skillshare, you might see the portfolio that they have, but you don't know what it's like to work with them.
Right.
You're not able to have conversation with them. With Round Here, you're able to real time engage with these experts and actually see what the solutions that they may propose to your problems. That's the game changer.
Yeah, it's similar. It makes me think of a panel that I did for Robert Courtney and his business, where he essentially said that I wanted to curate these experts, this panel, to have them in a room with you all, because like not only do you get a chance to be able to learn from them, but I can really see the expertise in real time that you have. Because, you know, sometimes things look good online or on paper, but until you get into a room and ask somebody to share their knowledge about something, that's when you really get to the core of what do you know.
Yeah, 1,000%. I'll go a step further to say, like, those simple solutions that you may not know and they might have the answer to you and it's just that easy.
Yeah.
You're bought into that person. So you might not hire them for that problem. Like, let's talk about if you're speaking to a lawyer and they show you how to incorporate and why you would want to do an S corp versus an LLC.
Yes.
Then that's the path that you may go. And it's like, you know what? I really like the reasoning that they had behind this, because I do want to be venture backed. So I know I have to do this. And then it's going to be hell to be able to convert from an LLC to an S corp. You have the trust of that business. So they're the first person that's going to come back to you when they're ready for all the other needs that they have.
Yeah. So let's see if we can use Black Friday as a case study. We talked about this a little bit off camera, but let's see if we can do it in real time to walk me through the process. So let's say I come to you like, hey, Matt, I'm trying to teach this podcast class. I've been teaching it in person. I want to amplify the audience and get in front of more people who I know want to start their own podcast. What is the process that I have to go through in order to get that going?
I'm sorry I spaced out because you're talking about starting a podcast and everybody's telling me I have to start getting in front of the camera, and I just felt this weight on my shoulders. Okay, cool. So you would come on to Round Here.
Yep.
You already are a trusted expert at a number of co-working spaces. I know that you had done a couple of workshops at I know that you spoke at New Lab, but you've also done a number of workshops at Bamboo. So you would go back and reach out to Amanda. Everybody knows and loves Amanda. And just say, hey, we want to be an expert on your channel. If you endorse us, we'll be able to stream through you guys. I mean, she gets it. She's one of our trusted channel partners. She would endorse you, stamp you right there. It does two things. One, you get a chance to stream to her community. Two, you get that badge on your profile. So when people pull up to your profile, they might just find you through the event that you're live streaming, right? Okay. But now that they see that Bamboo has endorsed you and New Lab has endorsed you, this is like community validation, right? Okay. That's everything. I feel like a lot of people find experts through word of mouth or through referrals, but I think that this is a much more scalable way to be able to find the right experts. Because Madala is the person who referred me to you, but I could have found you because Techtown and Bamboo were the people that endorsed you. Does that?
It does, yeah. So I get set up on the platform. I can start to get my endorsements. I reach out to the people that I know or the organizations I work with and say, hey, let me stream through your channels. So as someone who would come on the platform as a service provider, you could, the analogy that comes to mind is you can collect Pokemon badges with the different channels.
Pokemon is exactly what I've been telling to like some of our, it's funny because we've actually gotten a number of VCs onto the platform, right? Because they're doing this because they want to host their pitch competitions. Yes. They want to be able to provide this as a resource to their portfolio companies.
Facts.
It's the best way for us to go out and fundraise when we do. You know what we do. You're a customer of ours, so it's the best way for us to fundraise. But long story short, I think that is the perfect way for us to be able to build the community, and everybody knows what the solution is.
Gotcha. So you can get the badges from everybody. Like I done work with City Detroit, Bamboo, New Lab, Black Tech Saturdays. Like I can have them all.
Yeah, but that's just Michigan.
Yes. Right? Okay. Talk to me.
So Michigan is the testing ground for this pilot, right? But there's a number of other states. I'm not going to start tailing them off, but you can imagine like there's other states in the Midwest and on the East and West Coast that we're going to be going to expand this, take this formula. We found already if we get those institutions, those communities that are already existing and they're predominantly offline communities and bring them online, that's how we light up the map.
Got you. And so because it's tariffs on everything is too expensive. I know you got to eat at the end of the day. So can you break down the business model of Round Here and how does that work?
All right. So the business owners will be happy to know we're not charging them. Okay. That's not the part that we're charging. We are charging the folks that are streaming, right? Because we're providing, arguably the more value. No, it's equal value that we're giving to everybody, but we're leveraging the supply side. When you're talking about like a marketplace, it's usually a puzzle. Like which side do you serve first, right? Do you start to service the supply side or do you start to service the demand side? We are choosing to charge the supply side because we are trying to build up the critical mass on the demand. So hopefully I'm not getting too in the weeds here. Yeah. But we feel like the cheaper that we make it for the entrepreneurs, the more folks that we're going to get, the more business that comes in to those experts.
So are there, let's say, for example, let's say the city of Detroit wants to hire me for a podcasting class. City of Detroit, holla at me. They want to hire me for teach a podcast class or some media services, and we can make transactions through the platform, correct? Right. So what does that look like? Do you all take a fee, or is it something that like we pay a monthly fee in order to be a part of the community? Like what does that look like?
So we do charge you all. We do charge the experts, and so we take a cut off of every transaction. Cool thing about the transactions is you can set up recurring transactions. Let's say you're an accountant and you do bookkeeping for a startup. They can sign up for that directly through the platform. We take a 10% cut off of the first transaction, and then it goes down to a 5% cut off of all of the transactions after that between those two parties.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay. I'm aligned now. That makes complete sense. So tell me about the team that you were able to work with to build this out. And if you want to shout them out, by all means, please do so they can continue to work with you and sing your good graces. But we'd love to know how you curated the team to make this happen.
Once again, shout out to Madala Matherin. And then I have some of my friends out in New York. But like most of the people that I have are I would say my biggest partner that I have is Madala. Yeah. But then we have engineers all around the world.
Gotcha. And what was that process like in order to take your idea and then be able to articulate that so that it could be built in the digital space and have that system up and running?
Run it back for me.
So what was it like for you to take so you had the idea, you had a concept, you know what you want to do and how you want to do it. What was it like to work with developers in order to articulate the vision to them so that they can actually convert it into something real?
I'm a product guy, so I'm drawing out the picture. Okay. From jump, and Madala is polishing it, and then we're sending it over to the engineers. So that was probably the easiest part. I'd say the hardest part is actually taking it to the community and launching. Speaking of which, we're going to be launching in September. So everything that you may see on the site right now is all beta.
Okay. And then so people will actually get a chance to get their hands on it in September, and then you're actually going to have a launch event for it. Could you tell us about that in details?
Yep. So mid-September for a week, we're bringing over 100 experts, and they're going to be hosting their workshops. We're hoping to get between 50 to 75 events happening in a 1 week period. That's a milestone for Madala to hit right there. And so they're going to be live streaming through your favorite like co-working spaces, whether it's like Chroma, Bamboo, all that stuff.
Okay. Am I one of the 100 experts, or how does that go?
You're talking about the paperwork. We're waiting for it to come through. Yeah. But yeah, of course, we would love for you to be able to talk about setting up a podcast, developing the following that you've had. I think the success story there, right?
Yeah.
A lot of my friends from founders of Lip Bar and so on and so forth. Like I knew Melissa like from Brooklyn days, right?
Okay.
Like when she was just making her lipstick out of her apartment, right? Wow. So it's just like had a ton of friends from New York and from the Midwest. We're going to be telling their stories. I think that aside from the service providers, founders want to hear from other successful founders.
Yeah.
How did you do it? Not that I'm going to replicate the way that you did it, because sometimes that's how they did it for their specific company and for their customer. But I think that it provides a degree of a roadmap that you can at least build off of.
Yeah, for sure. What message do you have to founders who are interested in doing their own thing, or they have an idea, they don't really know where to start? Because I think one thing that you've been able to do is to tap into a lot of the great resources we have here in the city and then also in your own personal network. So what words of encouragement would you have for that person who doesn't know how to get out of the starting block?
I think there's two people, right? You got the folks that are the 9-to-5ers, and then you got the folks that are still in school and they're trying to figure out, do I go this path, the 9-to-5 path, or do I go the entrepreneurial path? I started when I was in college. I started my watch company when I was in college because I knew that I didn't want the 9-to-5. I had done enough internships to know that.
Yeah.
And so for that, take advantage of that mom and pop's dollars that they have, like that, where they're putting you through the school and you don't have so many pressures on you. Plus, I got a 10-month-old at home, so yeah,
okay,
I got pressure. But for those 9-to-5ers, I think they can step into the shallow end. They don't have to quit their job for that. I think Johnny has done a great job at providing resources, and he's going to be one of our partner channels as well.
Yeah, Johnny turned into Black Tech Saturdays.
That's right.
Yeah.
So if you can't get there on Saturdays, we're going to have them streaming on the platform. So I think that those are the two paths that I would say. I mean, you don't have to go all in. In fact, I try to mitigate risk as much as possible by doing as many test runs and speaking to your customer before you even get the product out there. Talk to them about the idea. Talk to them about what you think is the problem, right? Are you having the same problem that I'm thinking? Because I'm trying to solve this problem. And if you see that it's just a nice to have, you might want to consider like coming up with a different problem set, right? I want to, and I've definitely gone down this path before, because you get super hype about like this solution. You might find out that people don't need it. They may want it, but like if they don't need it, it might not be worth going after.
Right. For sure. And so, Matthew, what do you see next in your crystal ball? What's on the horizon for around here? Any goals that you have or anything that's coming up that you can share with us?
Yep. 1,000 experts in Michigan, throughout the Midwest. And of course, we're trying to get other co-working spaces onto the platform. So I think what's really been great for us is that, I guess this is a testament, right, is that different experts and businesses have been referring co-working spaces, and even like government bodies, right? So you're talking about MEDC, DEGC, like these are organizations that are trying to provide resources and grants as well.
Yes.
So we've been able to get those referrals, those trusted referrals. Well, wow. By the way, Detroit is all about the referral. Like in New York, it was not like that, but here it's
you
like
need that,
who
you
know.
you need that stamp. You need the stamp.
I had no idea because like my formative years were all out in New York, but coming here was just like it was a different maze. So I think that was my path in particular. So understanding like how to navigate those spaces is going to be really important.
Nice. Very nice. So where can the people find you if they want to test out the beta version around here and also get information for when it actually launches, or if they want to follow your journey, connect with you? What's all the handles, website, that stuff?
So roundhere.io, we're setting up our socials right now. So give me a little time because we're getting ready to launch, but like definitely check us out on roundhere.io.
Perfect. Well, Matthew, thank you for pulling up to the podcast. Greatly appreciate it, and really love the conversation. And as things continue to progress, hope to be able to leverage the platform, test it out for you if you need some. I'm a techie, so if you need me to test out something or have any beta runs or feedback, I'm here to help. And hopefully the people watching and listening are willing to be able to do the same for you.
Let's do it. I mean, next 2 weeks, let's set up the time.
Let's do it.
All right.
Done deal. All right, everybody watching, listening, we're going to tap in with y'all soon. Peace.
Peace.